You are right on time for Hope TV Newswatch on this 5th day of March 2024. A very good evening to you and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Gloria Musimbi and on the sign language interpretation is Boniface Mirithi. Now, President William Ruto has disclosed that the heads of state in East Africa have reached a consensus to support a single candidate for the chairmanship position of the African Union Commission. The announcement was made during the opening session of the East African Legislative Assembly Yala in Parliament, where Ruto emphasized that this agreement underscores the unity and solidarity within the East African Community EAC. This comes even as Azimio leader Raila Odinga last month announced his candidature for the position, seeking to replace incumbent Moussa Faki Mahamat, whose tenure is set to end in January 2025 after serving two 4-year terms as African Union Commission Chairman. Our very own Grace Ahati begins our bulletin with the report.
The East African Community Heads of State have agreed to front one candidate for the African Union Commission AU chairmanship position. This is according to President William Ruto, who was speaking during the opening of the third session of the East African Legislative Assembly meeting at Parliament buildings in Nairobi. The decision comes at a crucial time when various leaders are positioning themselves for the coveted AU Commission chairmanship role. Notably, Azimio leader Raila Odinga declared his candidacy on February 15th, expressing his intention to succeed the current AU boss Moussa Faki, whose term is scheduled to conclude in January 2025. Meanwhile, Somalia has also initiated formal lobbying efforts to promote its former Foreign Minister Fauzia Adam as a contender for the upcoming AU Commission chairmanship. Although he did not disclose any specific names, President Ruto stated that the selected candidate would represent the region's interest at the AU.
You're all aware, the chair of the AU is coming up next year, as the term of Moussa Faki, our current chair, comes to an end. It is going to be the turn for East Africa to provide the chair of the Africa Union. We have sat down in the spirit of the East African community. We have consulted as heads of state from the East African community together, and we have agreed to sponsor one candidate as East Africans.
President Ruto has at the same time raised concerns over the existing debt repayment policies in East African nations, emphasizing the urgent need for restructuring to alleviate the strain on these countries. Ruto pointed out that the short period for debt maturity is a significant factor contributing to the financial challenges faced by many nations in the region.
The kind of debt infrastructure that we have has very short grace period, has very short tenure, and therefore it becomes very difficult to undertake any meaningful development. Our position is that we should increase the grace period for money borrowed for development, not 3 years, maybe 10 years. We should increase the tenure of debt for development resources, not 15 years, but maybe between 40 and 50 years.
Furthermore, President Ruto criticized the unfair credit ratings imposed on East African countries, which he believes hinder their ability to access sufficient funding and create an uneven playing field. The president has now called upon the East African Legislative Assembly to conduct a thorough analysis of potential opportunities and strategies to support national and regional initiatives aimed at mobilizing additional resources for the advancement of the regional integration agenda.
While others are accessing development resources at 1 or 2%, most African countries are accessing development resources in markets at between 10 and 15%. Explain to me, honorable members, if one set of countries are accessing development resources at 1-2%, and another is assessing between 10 and 15%. Is it realistically possible for us to grow at the same rate? This is the conversation we must have.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
Thank you, Grace Ahati, for that report. Moving on swiftly, the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party Summit has maintained its view that the tax burden being borne by Kenyans is unreasonable and unsustainable. The Azimio Summit said that the Kenya Kwanza regime is failing the test of being caring and compassionate. During the meeting today, the leaders also endorsed Azimio leader Raila Odinga's bid for the chairmanship of the African Union Commission, and Des Njenga gives us the report.
The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party's top decision-making organ today held a meeting that cast a bird's eye view of the nation with regard to issues affecting the country of living, inclusivity in appointments to public service, the taxation regime, and the general health of the economy, among others. Addressing the press, Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni said that paying taxes should never be a punishment but a patriotic duty.
On the state of the economy, the summit maintains that the view that the tax burden being borne by Kenyans is unreasonable and unsustainable. The Kenya Kwanza regime is failing the test of being caring and compassionate. Paying taxes should never be a punishment, but a patriotic duty. Under the KK regime, taxation is a punishment that is hurting the entire economy. We remain opposed to the 16% tax on petroleum products. We remain opposed to the housing tax and its colonial undertones that make it look like the infamous hard tax of the colonial era. We are deeply opposed to the high pay rates that Kenyan workers are being forced to endure. We remain opposed to the subjection of the retiree pensions to taxation. We also remain opposed deeply to the idea of subjecting farm produce to taxation.
On the NADCO report, Azimio said that the report must be implemented as it is, adding that its processing should be fast-tracked. The opposition is further warning those who are determined to undermine the report.
Regrettably, we have also been informed of forces within KK, in and outside of Parliament, who are determined to undermine the report and the bills. We notify those forces that should any efforts to undermine or tamper with the report succeed, there will be very heavy price to pay. In this regard, we call on Honorable William Ruto to rein on the speakers of the two houses of Parliament and a number of members of the National Executive who are hell-bent on derailing the NADCO report and the bills. Those leaders have clearly demonstrated a determination to delay, and even kill the NADCO report, which is a negotiated document that pulled the country out of hostilities to the peace that obtains today.
On their leader Raila Odinga's bid for AUC chairmanship,
I'll be going to not just one.
The summit reiterated its support to ensure he takes the seat upon the retirement of Musa Faki Mahamat in 2025. The meeting also welcomed the efforts by the government to back Odinga.
As a coalition, that it is in the best interest of the country, the East African community, and the East African community that Right Honorable Raila Odinga takes the seat. To this end, we very much appreciate the support of our neighbors and those across the continent who have extended their support to Right Honorable Raila Odinga. We are also encouraged by the personal efforts made by our party leader to win the seat without relying entirely on the endorsement by the state. And we are committed to reach out to friends and fellow leaders out there in support of our leaders' bid.
To talk to many leaders across the continent. Because you know that a candidate to be successful must get two-thirds physically. First round or second round. If you don't get two-thirds, then you're not elected. So I have to dialogue with virtually all leadership of the continent.
The coalition has maintained that it is committed to stay the course of holding the Kenya Kwanza regime to account, support the right of Kenyans to affordable living, lower taxes, and a functional economy that guarantees decent livelihoods, and to fight for the rights and dignity of the people of Kenya. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Following the Law Society of Kenya's LSK claim to initiate contempt of court proceedings against the KRA Commissioner General over alleged illegal deduction of housing levy, the government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has said that the government will come with a proper response after all considerations have been made to address the matter. Speaking to Hope TV, Mwaura, however, noted that it is a matter of perspective to create basis on the legality of the housing levy, which is the key to the affordable housing project by the Kenya Kwanza government. On matters concerning Daystar University's allegations on religious discrimination, Mwaura pointed out that every Kenyan has the right to religion and should not be forced to certain doctrines. He noted that private institutions have the right to formulate their regulations and allowed to exercise their ethos.
New law, and that new law was not declared unconstitutional, neither was it declared illegal. So it's a matter of interpretation. And of course, obviously, we understand LSK has just gone to court because they have a new chairperson or president, so they want to assert themselves.
Yes.
But there will be proper interpretation of the law. There is a position of the Attorney General. So government will be able to come up with a proper response after all of the saying that going to the chapel to pray is not right. So I think that issue needs to be resolved amicably. But Christian institutions have a right to establish their own doctrines and procedures. But I honestly believe that if somebody belongs to another faith other than being Christian, for Christians it should be compulsory because you are a Christian. But for other non-Christians, they should be given a leeway because even them, they wouldn't be able to force us to go into their religion. And I don't think it's so much about religion, it's a matter of faith. Because faith is personal as well.
President William Ruto has officially launched the 5th East African Legislative Assembly IALA Special Plenary Sitting. The 63-member State Assembly will hold its sitting in the country for the next 3 weeks to consider reports by different committees. The 3-week session, which ends on March 20th, will hold debates under the chairmanship of IALA Speaker Joseph Ntakirutimana. Nelias Wanjiru with more details.
President William Ruto has challenged the East African Legislative Assembly IALA to help change the narrative of Africa from a poor continent ridden with conflict and disease to that of immense opportunities. He said IALA was well placed to reposition the continent as a destination of great potential and investment. President Ruto made the remarks during the official opening of the 3rd meeting of the 2nd session of 5th IALA at Parliament Buildings in Nairobi.
Our customs union is on the move, with this assembly creating legislative frameworks to establish a common external tariff, uniform customs rules and procedures, and common rules of origin. And I want to congratulate members here for being patriotic to EAC and making sure these instruments are in place. These frameworks also provide for the elimination of non-tariff barriers and the implementation of a single customs territory, one-stop border posts, as well as the facilitation of the development of regional and national trade information portals.
At the same time, President Ruto asked the legislators to play a greater role in regional integration so that East Africa can be a beacon for the rest of Africa. He also pointed out that IALA and other regional parliaments should also play their part in making the Africa Continental Free Trade Area the next hub of global investment, trade and industry.
The Assembly has provided the framework to conclude the COMESA EAC SADC Tripartite Free Trade Area Agreement. The signing of the agreement establishes the African Continental Free Trade Area also and the adoption of the EAC e-commerce strategy. As you are aware, the bringing together of the tripartite agreement will bring 27 countries into one common market with a GDP of approximately $750 billion. That will make it possible for East Africa, parts of North Africa, and the whole of South Africa to trade together and to eliminate trade barriers that consistently stand in the way in our quest to enhance and expand business, trade, enterprise in our region.
Elsewhere, President William Ruto has promised the citizens from East African countries that soon they are set to experience free movement to and from their countries by only producing their identity cards, since restrictions for crossing the borders will be eliminated.
The EAC e-passport is now internationally recognized, while several member states now permit citizens to travel using the national identity cards. Visa fees for cross-border movements have mostly been eliminated, and cross-border communities now enjoy free movement. Students can enroll and transfer with greater ease. Regional institutions now implement mutual recognition agreements for various professional qualifications.
Yala Speaker Joseph Ntakirutimana commended President Ruto's effort in advancing peace and security in the region.
As a member of the summit, is that reconsider. We are aware that there is a sustainable funding mechanism that has been proposed, but still when you analyze it very well, it is just looking at how to generate the 7.3 million to go to East Africa, but not to increase. So we are requesting that you reconsider this position to increase funding to the community, such that you are able to be facilitated, the organs and institutions are able to be facilitated well to promote the integration agenda. Your Excellency.
The committee's sitting, which began today, with among other things consider 7 reports touching on oversight of different partner states in areas surrounding transport and trade. The 5th sitting of the EAL Assembly became the 2nd sitting being held in Nairobi after the last one in September 2019. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, my name is Nelias Wanjiru.
Now, elsewhere, 2 people have been confirmed dead following a mid-air collision between 2 planes in Nairobi. The deceased are confirmed to be a trainee pilot and instructor who were on board a Cessna aircraft belonging to the 99th Flying School. The aircraft crashed into the Nairobi National Park, killing the 2 on the spot. The passenger aircraft belonging to the Safari Link Aviation was forced to turn and land back at Wilson Airport in Nairobi after landing mid-air shortly after taking off. The airline, in a statement, has said that the passenger planes with 39 passengers and 5 crew on board was headed to Diani, Kwale County, when it experienced a loud bang soon after takeoff this morning at 9:45 a.m. It is said relevant agencies have since been notified and are investigating the incident. My heartfelt condolences to the families affected. And with that, we take a short commercial break. Stay tuned for more news updates.
So this parent calls me, sits after service and says, "Young man, you do not know what you've done," because it tells me that my son comes and tells me that, "Dad, I have also been struggling with ABCD. His was a mix of alcohol and pornography. And just hearing Justo on Route 104, I feel a young person like me give his testimony on how God has moved in his life." And I requested to meet the young man, and we met over coffee, became good friends. And I told him as well, listen, by me sharing does not mean, because the devil puts banana peels all over. Now, scripture tells us that, no weapon fashioned against you shall prosper. It doesn't say that weapons will not be fashioned. No, it says no weapon. It means weapons will be fashioned. And he will put traps all over. Right from your phone. You open Instagram, you see an image. And all of a sudden, it plays back. All those things. So that's another, because the battle is in the mind. That is why Paul says in Romans 12:1, not be conformed by the patterns of the world, but rather be transformed by the renewing of the mind. He knows it's here. The devil knows. And this guy is millions of years old. He's not our age mate. For those who remember when I used to tell like that on night, he's not your age mate. Stop saying that, me, I know that you have been saved for 15 years. Dude, the devil has been in existence for millions of years. So guess what? He knows everything about you. Okay? But greater is he that is in you than he was. We walked together, and I'm happy to say that he found his deliverance. And he became also a peer champion, as it is, an educator. And for me, those are some of the things that, wow, without Hope FM, really the platform of Hope FM, as Reverend Tomboy used to tell us as well, this is a platform not for you, but God is using you. The initiative Friends of Hope is more or less like what Romans 10:17 says, that faith comes only by the hearing, and hearing through the word of God. But how will they hear if somebody does not go to tell them? Think about that Muslim brother or sister who, because of you being a friend of hope and supporting with your 100 bob or whatever it is, that in Friday evening, by chance, they listen to Yesu Ndiye Njia. And then because of you supporting and being a friend of hope, the message will reach them in Zanzibar, in Mombasa, in whatever it is. Mimi ni Rafiki Mso. I'm a friend of hope. I'm just as Zawaka. I would like for you pia ukwe Rafiki Mso.
To get Ebenezer by Jane Allaire as your Skiza tune, SMS the word Skiza 88300023 and send to 811. Hope Skiza, spreading the hope.
Ebenezer, you been our God. Ebenezer, 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 oh, Ebenezer, you been our God. This far.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Now you can interact with us on our various social media platforms. Remember, the hashtag is Hope TV Newswatch. Moving on swiftly, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has launched Shanta Abak Sub-County in Garissa County in a bid to bring vital services closer to residents who previously had to travel long distances to access them. The move includes deploying a district commissioner's office to address long-distance issues of insecurity and underdevelopment. And as Kate and Diego reports, CS Kindiki has tasked the new security personnel deployed to the county with addressing the perennial challenge of insecurity in the area.
Abak Sub-County.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has officially declared Shanta Abak Sub-County in Garissa operational as of this afternoon. New personnel have been deployed to address immediate challenges such as insecurity, with plans for further deployments to tackle health and education issues in the region. The Cabinet Secretary promised to address all issues presented by local leaders, citing that the current government is keen on addressing the issues of all residents without discrimination.
Taleta maafisa wengine kadhaa katika ofisi hizi ili sub-county ya Shanta Abak ikamilike. Vile vile nikiwa hapo niseme ya kwamba ile ombi ambalo limeombwa na mheshimiwa MCA wa hapa la kugazeti police station mpya, hata hiyo ombi nataka niseme ya kwamba serikali imekubali. Na hii ni kumaanisha ya kwamba serikali hii inazingatia matakwa ya wananchi, na inafanya kazi na viongozi waliochaguliwa. Haijalishi walichaguliwa na chama gani, kwa sababu serikali ya Kenya ni serikali moja na ni serikali ya kila mwananchi.
Kindiki disclosed that substantial investment have been released aimed at ensuring peace and combating banditry in the area, including the utilization of intelligence and modern weaponry.
The government has invested heavily in the fight against terror, and increasingly we are using modern weapons, we are using new technologies, and we are using intelligence as the basis of the kinetic operations that we carry out. For us to succeed, the security forces must work closely with the local people. We are also requesting the support of political leaders to work together with us so that we can secure Garissa, secure northern Kenya, and turn around the story of this region. Convert this story to an area of success, progress, and triumph over terror and violence.
He further urged residents to collaborate with local leaders and assured them of additional personnel deployments to address deficiencies in education, health, and security, addressing future plans of expanding agriculture and tourism in the region to foster development.
Niseme vile vile kuna maofisa wengine ambao tutaleta hapa kama vile viongozi wenu wamesema. Tunataka kuleta afisa mkuu wa kuandikisha vitambulisho. Vile vile tutaleta afisa mkuu wa wilaya hii mpya ambaye atashughulikia kuandikisha watoto wanaozaliwa na vile vile vifo vya watu wetu ambao wanatuacha. Vile vile tutaleta hapa kamanda mpya wa polisi. Tutaleta vile vile hapa mkuu ambaye ni mkuu wa taasisi ya kuajiri walimu. Tutaleta hapa vile vile director wa elimu wa sub-county. Tutaleta maafisa wengine kadhaa katika ofisi hizi ili sub-county ya Shantabak ikamilike.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, my name is Kate Andiego.
And Gitaru hydropower production plant in Beere South was engulfed in clouds of tear gas as police moved in to disperse protesting villagers who had barricaded the plant's gate, and gunshots rent the air, marching to the Kenya Energy Generating Company plant KENGEN. More than 300 demonstrators demanded compensation for the 4,500 acres of land they say they have been forced to give up by the government in 1974 so that the dam and plant could be developed. Our very own Abigail Namude tells us more.
Wacha tuambie KenGen tumechoka na kuongea. Sio sana ati lazima tulipwe fedha, hapana. Tunataka tupewe nafasi, tulete watoto wetu kwa mashamba, tuagawie waanze kulima. After all, hiyo miaka 50 kama watoto wetu wangekuwa wanalima hiyo shamba, tungekuwa matajiri. Tungekuwa matajiri. Hii mto ya Tana River ni Mungu alituwekea hapo. Tungekuwa tumerima mashamba ya miraa, watoto wetu wangekuwa wameendelea, lakini saa hii ni umasikini kwa sababu hawa watu wote hakuna mahali ya kuishi. Na ndio sababu unaona tuna hasira. KenGen ni lazima watusikize. KenGen ni lazima watusikize. Serikali ni lazima isikize.
Tumeshikana tukiwa hiyo kirani sita, tutafute mali yetu ile ilikaliwa na KenGen. Kwa sababu hata KenGen na wakati ingine tumeenda safari 12 huko kwao, na wanatuambia ati watatulipa na tuoni hata kitu kidogo. Kwa hivyo hawa watu sisi tunataka mashamba yetu turudishiwe, tugaie watoto wetu walime huko na wao wakiendesha, kwa sababu hata wakienda upande hii, hata ukiona mahali pengine hata watu wengine huko, hata raia wetu, watoto wetu wakikuja kuchunga hapa wanafukuzwa kwa sababu ati ni kwao na wanja turiba. Kwa hivyo sasa tunataka kurudishiwa mali yetu, akiwa hata rudishia sisi mashamba waturipe.
Tulikuwa kwa mazungumzo na KenGen for the last 5 years, lakini this negotiation ilianza 1974. Tumekuwa kwa mazungumzo na KenGen, tukafika wakatuandikia barua, wakatubia by end of July mwaka uliopita watakuwa na kikao na sisi. Na tangu hiyo siku, hiyo kikao ingepatikana, na hii maneno tumefanya survey ya hii mashamba 2018 tulifanya survey ya hii mashamba, kila clan ikaonekana shamba yao. Na sasa ile imebaki ni just compensation. There are two terms of references. Kulikuwa na reference ya kuangalia shamba iko namna gani and the size. Hiyo ilifanyika 2018. Now the KenGen team walipatiwa assignment ya kutafuta documents ile walicompensate nayo watu. For the last 5 years or so hawajapata hizo barua.
On local business news, Kenya Tourism Board KTB and footwear manufacturer and retailer Bata have awarded 10 Kenyans a fully paid Easter holiday in a joint campaign aimed at spurring domestic travel. The initiative, dubbed Tembea Kenya na Bata, saw the two organizations rally Kenyans to take part in a month-long campaign with rewards to various tourism spots across the country. Speaking during the prize-giving ceremony for the winners, KTB Acting CEO John Chirchir said the initiative is indicative of the growing appetite among Kenyans looking to rediscover their country by seeing hidden gems attractions through a new lens.
Include Nairobi, Masai Mara, Lake Nakuru, Meru, Laikipia, Shaba, Amboseli, Samburu, and Diani. Your enthusiasm for travel and exploration within this country will not only enrich your own experiences, but also inspire countless others to embark on their own Tembea Kenya discovery journey. The power of partnerships is really great, and this is unleashed in what we are seeing. Stands as a testament to the transformative power of strategic brand partnerships in promoting domestic tourism. By synergizing our strength in destination marketing with Bata's extensive nationwide presence, which I'm told is over 120 outlets, we have successfully highlighted the diverse array of travel experiences available across our countries and our counties. At Kenya Tourism Board, we recognize the invaluable role that public-private sector partnership play in driving growth and diversification in the tourism industry. The success of these collaborations underscores the immense potential that exists when like-minded partners join forces to promote magical Kenya. We eagerly anticipate exploring further opportunities with Bata and other brands that will come in the future.
And the Cooperative Bank of Kenya has emerged as the overall winner of the Banking Industry Customer Satisfaction Survey conducted by the Kenya Bankers Association, KBA. The bank was also named the winner in the Tier 1 bank category. This is the second consecutive win for Coop Bank, having also won the overall title for year 2022. The annual Banking Industry Customer Satisfaction Survey was initiated in 2018 as part of efforts being spearheaded by KBA towards enhancing customer experience in the banking industry. Over 30,000 customers of Kenyan banks from across the country were interviewed in the 2023 survey, whose results were released this morning. Group Managing Director and CEO Dr. Gideon Muriuki said Coop Bank will continue to invest substantial resources in building the teams, the tools and the technologies to deliver a fulfilling customer experience across all its service channels.
To get Wewe ni Mungu by Evelyn Wanjiru as your Skiza tune, SMS the word Skiza 88300028 and send to 811. Hope Skiza, spreading the hope.
Umepigana vita zangu, nakupa ibada ya moyo wangu usiku wa leo.
Je, ushawahi kuweka jambo kwenye mizani? Ushawahi kupata uzito wake? Haya basi, usitapetape zaidi. Naomba unigande, maana mizani ipo hapa kwa ajili yako.
Vyakula na mbegu za kitamaduni,
na kutuliza fikra na kukuwezesha kupima masuala ibuka katika jamii, tena kwa busara. Tukutane mizani kila Ijumaa saa 1 machweo kwenye runinga ya Hope TV.
The NCBA Bank-sponsored Windsor Classic concluded on Sunday at the Par 72 Windsor Golf Hotel and Country Club, with Elvis Muigai emerging victorious, marking his third consecutive win in the Kenya Amateur Golf Championships (KAGC). The Kiambu Golf Club player was on top of his game throughout the three-day tournament, securing the title by a margin of 2 shots over his closest competitor Michael Karanga. Muigai's stellar performance was marked by the 3 crucial birdies at the first 9s, 3rd, 6th and 9th holes to cancel an earlier bogey at the 4th. Meanwhile, the US Kids NCBA Nairobi Fall Local Tour concluded at Sigona Golf Club, marking another successful event aimed at nurturing young talent in golf. Sponsored by NCBA Bank, the tournament attracted 155 budding golfers aged between 6 and 18 years, competing in various age-appropriate categories. Trailing by 1 goal following last month's first leg in Rome, Bayern Munich And internationally, trailing by 1 goal following the last month's first leg in Rome, Bayern Munich will aim to overturn Lazio's lead in the Champions League last 16 tonight. While the Series A side are close to a first quarter-final appearance in 2 decades, the German champions have made the stage for 3 years straight and are ultimately seeking a 7th European crown. Elsewhere, 3 weeks on from an entertaining first leg at Parc des Princes, Real Sociedad and Paris Saint-Germain renew acquaintances for the return fixture at the Reale Arena. And with that, we wrap up the Newswatch Bulletin tonight. Many thanks to you for joining us only on Hope TV. My name is Gloria Musimbi, and on the sign language interpretation has been Boniface Meridi. Have a blessed night.